Most of you already know what Heroku Connect is and what it does. Basically, it allows you to synchronize an object from Salesforce to a table in a Postgres database within Heroku. It's in both ways, so whenever you add a record or modify a record from the database, it's pushed to Salesforce, and when you create a record in Salesforce or update a record in Salesforce, it's pushed to a row to the database. Now Heroku allow us to use it in another way. We can use a Postgres database as an external data source. It's fairly simple to set up. The main advantage of this is that we don't synchronize the object. Salesforce is accessing the database straight, so there's no delay. However, there's a few downfall where if you sync or if you want to access tons of objects, you need not to have an ID in Salesforce, so you cannot do lookup. But I'll guide you to a step to set up a simple application, and then you'll be able to play around and get a feel of the feature. So first, you need an Heroku app, which I created a simple one, blank. There's nothing there, no code running. I don't need any code, I just need a database. So I'll add in here a Postgres database. Here it is. So got the database here. I can view my credentials, but first I'll also need Heroku Connect. So you need to install the Heroku Connect. You need to set up the connection to the database. What it does when it set up the connection, it will actually create functions in the database that it will require to synchronize. You don't have to sync it with a Salesforce environment. So you do setup, click next. So now it's provisioning the database, so it's creating the function that I said. And now here on connect to Salesforce, you can just skip. And then you go to external object and you click create credentials. So it created an endpoint. There's no data yet in the database, so that's why it's not listed. So I'll get back to my database here. I'll go to setting and view credentials. I'll connect a Postgres UI to that. So external object, host, user, password, and the database. So database is D78SH, D7 might not be listed yet. Sometimes it takes a few seconds. Or it's just not ordered properly. So D78SH7, much easier this way. So I connect to that, see that there's a Salesforce schema that Heroku Connect created, but I won't need it. So I can go in the public schema and there's no table. So I'll create a new table. I name my field ID. I'll give it an N4. I'll say it's the key. I could create a sequence here. Could do whatever. I can add another field and I'll name my text for char. Oh, that's it, it's the key. Save, and I'll name that demo. So now that I have my table, I can go to Heroku Connect, refresh that page, go on external object. You can see that demo's there. You'll need for sure a key, otherwise it will say that it cannot expose that table. So I just check it off. There's no save button, not required. So from here, Heroku setup is all done. Well, for sure, if you need more tables, just create them all and then expose it there, but that's all you need to do. Except you need a Salesforce environment now. So I've got a blank scratch org here. I'll go to external data source. Create new external data source. I'll name it Heroku. Type is Salesforce Connect OData 4. I can see that here. It's OData version 4. So OData version 4. URL is there. I want to be able to write to external object. iData volume is what I said. It's regarding kind of the synchronization process. If you don't check iData volume, it will create records in Salesforce storing only an ID. So you can create lookups to those external data objects from within your environment. But if you check off iData volume, you won't be able to create those lookup, but there won't be any record created in your org. You will just be able to access the data either from a tab for search or whatsoever. Then you've got a few settings. You can read the details in there. The identity type is name principal, and it's password authentication. I've got the password here, username, password, and then I click save. So my connection has been made. I can do validate and sync. So it listed all the objects. So here demo and here demo. Click sync. So my object is now being created. It's there. So now that I have the object, I'll create a tab. Public demo. Here, next, and here. So that's a tab for my new object. I can change the label of the object. I can create a record. As there's no sequence, I need to provide an ID. I'm going to test, save. And if I go back to my UI here, you can see that the record has been created. And if I update it, test2, and I refresh, it might just have been taken from the cache. So let me create a new record instead. Add here to test3, save. If I go to public demo, all external ID 2, test3, and here it's definitely a test2. So it was a cache that has been activated in Lightning. I could deactivate it from the session settings. But yeah, now I'm accessing straight the database. It's not looking up, it's not syncing records, so there's no sync delay or whatsoever. As soon as a record is there, it's going to be listed in my tab. And that's pretty much it. There's a tons of more feature we could explore, but my goal here was just to show you how to set it up, how easy it was. Within a few minutes, we've got the connection going, we've got the database set up, started totally from scratch. So hopefully you learn a thing or two. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to receive, to view all the other video that we make, and click the notification bell to receive notification whenever we publish something. Thank you very much.